a lot of people, even in America, especially praising this guy. This guy's IQ was top notch. He can box on the inside, fight from distance. He could do it all. He looked scary. Inoue is Inoue, man. The dude is just a beast, bro. Dude is just a beast.
Monster Inoue Naoya.
Friends, today's video will be dedicated to the top 10 fastest knockouts in Naoya Inoue's career. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and leave comments of 4 words. Well, let's get started. Number 10. Chon Mancio. Right now, it's nothing unusual that Inoue has successfully moved up to the super bantamweight division and may soon become the undisputed champion in the weight class. However, initially the monster was much smaller and started his career as a boxer in the light flyweight division. There, the Japanese fighter competed for his first title in the Eastern and Pacific organization against the more experienced and battle-tested Filipino Chon Mancio. Naoya is a screen hero turned real-life action star. Despite his seemingly harmless appearance, this Japanese fighter knows how to beat people in a way that resonates throughout the arena. The total destruction of Mancio began in the first round when he took a heavy counter blow and wobbled. Inoue then continued to build on his advantage, dodging a sweeping right and throwing combinations of power punches, one of which earned him a knockdown in the middle of the second round. In each round, Chon had no more than one successful moment, spending the rest of the time working as a punching bag. The beating lasted for 12 minutes and then Inoue stunned his opponent once again, but this time did not let him go. Only when the guy was beaten into unconsciousness did the referee finally stop the fight. Number 9. Chon Omayo. A high level of opposition from the early days of a career is what unites top boxers regardless of weight categories. Examples of such athletes include Vasily Lomachenko, Alexander Usyk, and, as you already understand, Naoya Inoue. While most debut against opponents with records of 0-5 or, at best, against fellow newcomers, these boxers immediately faced opponents of moderate level. The monster faced Chon Omayo with a record of 16-4. There is one word that perfectly describes the performance of this young genius: academic. Inoue did everything so effortlessly and smoothly, yet effectively, that Omayo had to simply accept his unfortunate fate. In the first round, the guy had to play a scene from Ryan Garcia's book and take a seat after a straight to the body. However, unlike the latter, the Filipino got up and tried to impose his style in the clinch. These actions slightly delayed the inevitable, but it was clear that Inoue would finish the guy. It was only a matter of time. By the third round, the Japanese fighter stopped getting entangled in close range, began dodging punches in matrix style, and continued to punish the body harshly. By the next 3 minutes, Omayo's insides resembled jelly in consistency, and the future champion needed just one punch to finish what he started. Number 8. Juan Boer. Experience doesn't always prevail over youth, especially when combined with incredible talent, and Inoue's fight against Juan Boer is a perfect testament to that. In 2017, the Kaibutsu performed for the first time outside his home country, securing his WBO title in the super flyweight division for the 6th time against Antonio Nieves. After returning to Japan, he started training for a new contender from France with a record of 41-4. Instead of seeking the perfect balance between speed and power, Juan decided to build his entire style solely on the former. Yes, the Frenchman was indeed faster on his feet than Inoue, and his punches rained down on the opponent by the dozen, but it was all in vain. For the monster, such jabs were no more threatening than mosquito bites, and all of Boer's speed ceased to work the moment Inoue activated his pressure. Left without a strategy, the contender opened up and received a precise left strike, finding himself on the canvas. Unwilling to go down again, Juan focused on defending his head, but for the Japanese it was a call for body destruction. The start of the third round immediately followed by a fierce knockdown from a body shot, and then another one and a final touch. A whole combination to the head and body. A true demolition by Naoya. Number 7. Ricardo Rodriguez. Inoue became the proud owner of the WBO belt in the super flyweight division at the end of 2014 and defended it until December 2017, accounting for 8 fights in total. During this time, the Kaibutsu had the opportunity to face representatives from several countries, including 2 young and very bright talents from Mexico. The first was David Carmona, who managed to go the distance with Inoue in a 12-round bout. The second was Ricardo Rodriguez. Do you want to see what humiliation without a single word looks like? Then this fight is a must-watch. Inoue simply stood in the center of the ring and effortlessly kept his opponent away with just a jab for a whole 2 rounds. Almost no power shots, only jabs and beautiful maneuvers of the body and head. Everything the Japanese needed for domination. Ricardo didn't know how to approach or even shorten the distance, and the monster didn't strain and worked at an easy pace until the 3rd round. Naoya suddenly surged forward and sent Rodriguez spinning with a left hook. The shaken guy got up, but immediately received a second serving and then collapsed, unable to rise again. An epic finish. Number 6. Omar Nez. We've already discussed how Inoue conducted his defenses twice, so it would be absolutely unfair not to mention the fight that made him a champion, especially since the finish there was truly fast. In 2014, Inoue moved up in weight and immediately gained the status of the WBO title contender, which was then defended by Omar Nez. An incredibly experienced and technical Argentine boxer had already defended his title 11 times and had no intentions of backing down. A person with a 14-year career in professional boxing must be prepared for anything. So how do you explain a knockdown in the first minute of the 1st round? Omar took a right punch and immediately found himself down. Moments later, the same was done to him with a left hook, barely grazing his head. It seemed the champion had never encountered such power. It was an entirely new level of madness. Meanwhile, Inoue already felt that he was in sole control of the situation. Instead of finishing Nez, he allowed the fight to go to the 2nd round. During the break, the Argentine fully recovered and intended to make up for lost ground, but the first serious punch sent him to the canvas again. It looked like one more head punch and everything would end in brain hemorrhage, but the monster didn't let that happen and crushed the guy through the body. Number 5. Walito Paredes. The incredible domination over the long-time champion left all inhabitants of the super flyweight division trembling in horror. However, the mere thought of defeating this formidable Japanese and claiming all his popularity greatly motivated contenders, so there were no serious problems with challengers. The first was Filipino warrior Walito Paredes with 8 performances in a row, a decent opponent to start the magnificent title defense streak. A small reminder to all boxers, if you get hit hard, don't smile and pretend you didn't feel anything, you look like a fool. Walito clearly didn't notice, so after each successful combination from the champion, he portrayed himself as a tough guy but couldn't land a counter. Inoue acted extremely fast and attacked very precisely, not giving the opponent a chance to defend successfully. Several deadly attacks landed on the Filipino in the first 3 minutes, but he endured the damage, so the second round began. It all ended right there. One of the right punches from the monster set Perennas off on chicken-like dances, and another punch led to a knockdown. Rising without a smile, the contender didn't even have time to realize how bad things were before Inoue finished the fight with a deadly combo. Number 4. Emmanuel Rodriguez. The stronger and more experienced the opponent, the harder and consequently the longer it should take to fight him. Sounds like the most logical thing you've heard today. However, in Inoue's career, this was not always the case. Some Japanese or Thai middleweights easily went the distance with the Kaibutsu for 10 rounds, while the best representatives of the division could fall within a few minutes. As you can see, this happened with the IBF champion, Emmanuel Rodriguez, whom Naoya met in the semi-final of the World Boxing Super Series in 2019. In the first minute and a half of the fight, it might have seemed like the end for Naoya. Rodriguez had a punch for every move the opponent made, and he remained out of the reach of counterattacks. Unfortunately, the spider sense of the Puerto Rican lasted only for a short time because the Japanese began to hit him very hard, especially with the left hand. The fighters ended the round evenly, but after the gong, only one of them stepped into the ring, and it was the monster.
A fearsome flurry, and he's down.
Naoya moved and struck so quickly that Emmanuel couldn't see the blows, and the knockdown after a left hook didn't take long. After reaching the jaw, Inoue switched gears and brutally pounded the body, scoring a round of 10-7. But even that was not enough for him.
2 minutes to go, John. Oh, this is unbelievable for Inoue. Third time he's gone down.
The Japanese butcher went for the finish and ended the opponent with another couple of body shots. Number 3. Jamie McDonald. Naoya's dominance in the super flyweight division lasted exactly 3 years, but it was time to take a new step, especially considering that the division above was set to participate in the second season of the World Boxing Super Series. Naturally, Naoya couldn't enter such a tournament without a title or at least experience in that weight class, so he decided to acquire both by taking on the WBA champion Jamie McDonald. The Brit faced one of the most aggressive versions of Inoue seen today. The Kaibutsu pounced on his opponent like a rabid fox on a bunny and almost secured a knockdown in just 40 seconds, but Jamie withstood it. The monster's punches were so swift that at times they were invisible, and McDonald's behavior made it clear that they had no less power in them than the speed. At the midpoint of the round, the Kaibutsu launched another attack but changed its trajectory right during the punch, delivering a powerful blow to the opponent's jaw. The champion immediately found himself on the canvas but was still conscious and decided to fight to the end. Inoue immediately rushed for the finish and battered the guy until he spread out on the floor. Number 2. Napan Chuat. It's quite amusing that Inoue won with equal speed against a solid champion with 6 title defenses and an unknown Thai, Napan Chuat, with a negative record. This bout was the second in Inoue's professional career and remains to this day the only one in which the champion broke his own rule, never to box with a knowingly weaker opponent. However, what can he do when everyone is weaker in the world? The match became one of the few where Naoya was taller than his opponent, but he didn't have to fully utilize the difference in size because the gap in skills turned out to be too significant. The Thai attempted to throw single punches from the backhand at a moving target, but all of them missed as Inoue was too agile on his feet. Interestingly, in response, the Kabutsu almost didn't land anything, as if he was waiting for Chuatana to open up. However, this happened quite early. After about a minute and a half, the Thai simply moved forward with a combination of sloppy and slow blows. The higher powers do not forgive such mistakes, so a devastating left bomb descended upon him. As soon as this warhead reached its target, the fight was over. Number 1. Juan Carlos Pano. After the easy dismantling of McDonald, Naoya not only took his title but also got the opportunity to participate in the World Boxing Super Series. Moreover, he was considered a strong favorite according to preliminary assessments. In the first round of the competition, Inoue had to prove his legitimate status in a bout against the former weight class champion Juan Carlos Pano, nicknamed Little Pacquiao. As it turned out later, there was nothing in common between him and the great Manny. The Jack Dominican with a southpaw stance started the encounter very actively and tried to push the monster out of the center of the ring, as he clearly didn't want to be overwhelmed. To keep away the Japanese, Carlos used jabs to different levels, but the punches were formal and imprecise, and Inoue kept silent. So for the first 50 seconds, the audience witnessed practically a non-contact fight. However, patience is always rewarded. At the 1 minute mark, Inoue threw a classic 1-2, but it looked like Pano received the entire nuclear arsenal of the USA at once, and he was instantly annihilated. None of Carlos's attempts to get up was successful, and the bout was stopped at the 1 minute and 10-second mark. And that's it. Did you like the video? Then be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. What do you think? Will Naoya be able to update his top 10 fastest knockouts in the near future? Share your opinion in the comments.